So it's like a process flow to register just in
Okay.
general.
I was gonna say.
Have you not read the chart, the flow chart?
So I've just read it now. So it's like registration
it's
with
awful.
confirmation no, then yes. But I don't.
Yeah.
I want an arrow. Yeah, I'm gonna complain. I want an arrow back to the start if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Instead of just kicking me out
I
to
know.
the left.
I
or
really
right.
need to I really need to rewrite this. So it's
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. This is our work, then. This is what we do. I'm literally writing process maps right now.
How would you rewrite it?
It just ends if
be
well,
our
it needs an
second-
end. It needs an end.
And also, apparently, it ends if I haven't registered on the Pokemon website, because
And
it
I
just
feel
goes to the
like-
left and goes if you haven't.
I feel like you need
It's
to.
just not the
yeah.
easiest process, to be honest.
I feel like you need to ensure your Arcanine profile is accurate before you even look at this map. You know?
Well, they do say that in their tweet, I believe.
Yeah.
That's part of their thing.
Wild. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a very. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
Joe, I don't know if you want to start the podcast.
You are such a mug. Is that you telling us? Is that you telling us that you pressed the button?
I pressed the button ages ago. Yeah.
That's barely our ramble.
Well, yeah. So what happened, Rab? Why did I not see you on Saturday?
What, the football?
Yeah, at the football that we were both at.
So
And
we
spoke about a week before.
So I mean, I was
what
with
are
my
you
brother.
doing?
It was his.
Where
it was
are
his
you
birthday.
doing it? What time are you going to be there?
It was his birthday, and you were in Marylebone, or Marylebone, depending on how you
Who's
say
his
it.
birthday for one? Can you give?
So
some context?
Rab
I have
went.
no
It's my
idea,
brother.
by the way.
His brother's a Chelsea fan and a genius.
So I bought him
Right.
tickets to the game, and we were severely disappointed at the lack of finishing.
Entertainment.
Well, everything
Yeah.
really.
And that's coming from a Celtic fan. That's
Yeah,
the level we're talking.
Mate, if you had Daizan Maeda at that front, you'd be winning that game. Let me tell you. Or Coyote.
Stick Joe Hart up front
obviously.
after that penalty.
It was actually
don't-
so sad because I
don't
remember
mention
going in
him.
at half time being so optimistic, being like, they're not playing that well, they're knackered, we've had chances, we could do this.
So I was texting Joe in the middle of the game, and of course, like Wembley, you have no service whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, like, please you need to take Jackson off. But it was really funny because I know Joe so well that like if he would have received those messages, he would be looking for me in the stadium. I know. I'm watching the game.
Yeah, I've seen it. We've all seen it.
But like I felt sorry for my brother because it was his first Chelsea game in such a while. But like
Yeah.
it's a good day out, and we were singing.
Yeah.
Ticket prices.
I got to
Out of
sing
interest.
"Mind the Gap." For
80.
about
It wasn't
30
bad.
minutes. Yeah, it was like just
80?
under 81,000.
Good.
I got to sing
I
"Mind the
said
Gap" for
prices,
about
by the way,
half an
not-
hour.
Yeah, £80 was the price.
But people,
Not for Rob, probably.
people were so drunk at that game. Like they were really.
Yeah, it was a 5:15 kickoff, so.
Yeah.
And obviously, most of the City fans are probably coming from London as well, so.
Yeah.
No, that's Manchester United fans.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking. I mean, I was thinking because when you're on Wembley Way, it's really bizarre because like I used to go away a lot with Cardiff, and then of course the away fans and like the home fans, they're like separated by walls and walls of police and stuff like that. But like when you go to Wembley, like all the fans are just like this big mush, like
Yeah.
on Wembley Way.
Well,
And
half
it's
the people
just-
don't wear colours as well.
No, yeah,
And,
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's also a neutral ground, right? So
that's the thing.
Worry
Because
about.
there's no home end, away end. So we were actually ushered into a hotel. They were like shouting. There was a guy basically saying, "Chelsea fans, come here." And then we went in, and it was all bloody City fans in there. So it's like, what are you doing? Why would you do that?
I was
But
thinking as well, like
we got to sit down, which was more than I expected. For Wembley, it's normally trash. Like for the Carling Cup, I didn't even get into a bar. I just like stood outside and waited for the game, which was really sad. And I went into the ground like an hour earlier just to get a drink.
I was thinking as well, like the Man City fans were so loud, but I was thinking if I just won
The Man City fans were like, "Are you joking?"
they were on Wembley Way. They just won the quadruple. So I was thinking like if my
That was like
if my
almost a year ago.
but if my team had just won the quad, like you're not stopping the singing, right? Like,
Yeah. But they weren't good in the ground. When the Chelsea fans are taking the piss out of you, then you know that your fans are toilet because we're bad, and we were like out singing them.
Well, there were like 3 songs that Chelsea sang the entire way through. Thiago Silva was like Thiago Silva was the best chant. Which is quite
it's a great one.
Yeah.
It's because we don't like any of our other players, so we just chant his name or Cole Palmer, and that's it.
But I was saying to Joe, like, after the game, my brother said something really funny, which was, "We need more money." We need more money. I was
Please. Like, oh, okay. A little bit more, sir.
Yeah.
To Todd Bowley. Why not?
Right. I reckon we should start this probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Why not?
So, good. Welcome back, everyone, to Spill the TCG podcast, loosely about Pokemon, with myself, Joe Bernard, who is on the UK all-time limitless point list as 4th best performer. I'm joined with Alex Dow, who is on the limitless modern era. I believe you're 7th on the page. Let me get this up so I get it all right.
Dropping.
I don't know where this is going.
I've only just dropped off as well, and it's to Luke as well, so that was actually really annoying. And I'm gonna have to scroll a bit further
Where's
down.
Where's this going?
Actually,
I don't understand this joke.
Whereas, I just thought it was important to give the listeners context when they're listening to people's opinions of how much they should take into account for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you saying as the placement system coming along that we?
So, Dow, you're actually 8th. You're 8th in the modern era, and our own Benjamin Rabioti, you are 61st.
That's a good number. Strong.
So yeah,
it's such a strong position.
Behind such examples as
some great players in here. Of these 60 players above you, how many would you willingly money match? Is my first question.
All of them.
You'd money match all of the people above you.
What, in Europe? I'm 61st in Europe.
No, in the UK. In the UK.
Oh,
I mean,
I think that's a strong position though. I like that number. 61 is strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this just to grief. I thought it was good for the listeners to get some context.
Yeah.
But also,
yeah.
And if people think I'm being elitist and taking the mick right now, it's because I've obviously got some beef with Rab. Well, I guess I'll leave it open to you guys. How did you feel about the first episode, the pilot? That's, I guess,
I thought it went
the first
really
question.
Well.
Rab, can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Any good feedback coming in loud and clear?
I thought it went really well.
Can you be like that the whole time?
So I was obviously quite annoyed at some elements of the first episode, mostly the volume, obviously. And Rab, do you want to explain why I was so particularly angry about this?
So before we started recording, me and Joe were in the Discord, and he was just kind of laying up like, oh, you need the things level and all that. And bear in mind, it's my first time.
I'm talking about
sound.
Yeah.
It needs to be level.
Yeah.
Because the little dials have to be.
Well, hold on. I was literally, so the sentence I was saying, so as I was talking, I was saying the sentence that you need to be talking the same time as I was talking. And every time I was saying the sentence,
and
trying to get you to talk with me at the same time, you weren't saying a word.
No, because I was trying to.
Getting through to you.
So I was trying to listen to you.
Yeah.
And what you were saying.
But what I was saying was, I need you to talk right now.
I know, but I didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah, there was sensory overload for you.
Yeah. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
So I was mostly annoyed to hear back the first episode after specifically saying that we need to get the levels correct for them to be a little bit off.
I thought it was
fine. But that is the joy of a pilot episode, and some of us are new to this, and those are the ones doing the work because I refuse to. So I suppose it's also partially my fault in a way.
It is.
I didn't take the reins.
I'd say as the experience.
Even though I did tell you exactly how to do it. But
I would say as the experience. I don't know.
That's fine. So yeah, we did have a bit. That was mostly our feedback, I suppose. But otherwise, I've heard a couple of good things. Have other people enjoyed? Has anyone mentioned to you the podcast so far? We've had a good number of views. I think in the hundreds for a first episode on YouTube. That's not bad. I don't think at all. And I don't know what the Spotify is like. It's weird being on multi platforms. I don't really like. it's hard to analyze, I suppose, how we did. But I'm pretty happy with the overall viewership and the comments that I've had.
Yeah, I think from a pilot episode, I mean, look, we were going into this as a conversational piece, right? Or an opportunity for some of us to let loose in a number of sense away from their usual aspects. Joe mainly, I guess.
Yeah.
Just on that, Spotify is just under 100 at the moment.
That's not bad. 100. Well, I've listened to it about 6 times just to listen back to me arguing at Rab to think, was I being too harsh here? And I decided, no, I wasn't. So that's good.
Well, yeah, otherwise feedback's similar, right? It's been generally fun conversation.
One of the feedbacks I had was I have to actually argue with people more often, more frequently, and go
this
harder.
This is you. This is the true self. Like, if you... I feel like... Yeah. I feel like they need to know you a lot more.
Well, I guess I don't really have the opportunity to argue with anyone when I'm talking to myself on the normal channel.
No, yeah.
Just everyday life, the day-to-day, speaking to yourself.
Yeah. I think if you were to put me on a scale of 1 to 10, or like a thermometer type situation, I'm definitely like on a constant 8 out of 10. And it takes the smallest of things to push me to 12. And then I'll have an outburst and drop back down, maybe to like a 7.6, and then slowly rise back up to my resting level. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right. Any cats pooing in the corner this time?
Oh yeah.
No,
That's
yeah.
another thing. I completely forgot,
so
which is insane.
Yeah.
By the way, do you want to explain that technical difficulty that we had?
So like halfway through the episode, my litter tray, the cat's litter tray, is in the corner of the office. So like.
Yeah.
It went to the loo in the middle of the podcast, but like I didn't want to get up or interfere with like the flow of the podcast, so
because
I just sat
going
here.
So well.
It smelled really bad, like really bad.
But didn't you get a message from Harriet saying?
So Harriet messaged me saying,
"This is
like,
awful."
Yeah. So Harriet messaged me in the corner just saying the smell is really bad. Can you shut the door? I'm going to bed. So
just for anyone's reference, if we need to have that, if for any reason we need to stop, we can just do that. And I would say that sticking through that shows great determination and grit, but is truly insane.
It's commitment. It's commitment.
It was for the cause. I reckon I'll give props to you for that.
I'm proud of it. Yeah. I mean, the commitment's there, right? Like,
and the best part is we never would have guessed. So you kept to the role perfectly.
You can't smell it. That's the thing. It did smell really bad, but I mean, I dealt with it as soon as possible. I may have opened the window like mid podcast, but like mid cast, mid recording, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the message now, but
well, guys, it's been a busy week in the Pokemon world. We've had another regional at the weekend. We've also had some new cards revealed from Japan. Mm-hmm. And there's more tournaments upcoming as well. And you guys, well, at least Alex, you played in a challenge. Do you want to quickly just jump on how that went for you and what you chose to play and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm obviously limited by my card pool. I think I might have mentioned last week about what I have access to. So I ended up with Arc Giratina as a deck that wasn't fully complete. So I had to play the Lost City version rather than actually
you didn't have access to headquarters. Yeah.
Knowing that everyone's going to be playing Ancient Box.
You knew as they're sleeving it up that you can't tech for them.
Yeah. And I was just there like really struggling. But no, it went very well. Obviously didn't actually meet an Ancient Box till the latter stages of the tournament, and it was fine by then. Good. The field was filled with things like Venomoth, Spidops, and there was an Ancient Box flying around. I had to play a fairly new player. That's kind of just happened, so I was kind of guiding them through. That was a Miascarada deck. Mm-hmm. And there was also that deck which is popularized by James Cox, which is that Cloth Cramorant deck.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, the Colrus quad vacuum plus Cloth.
Which is kind of cute. I quite like it. But because I was playing things like Lost Cities, I mean, I don't really have too many issues when I'm removing all of their attackers when I need to, which is quite fun.
I would have thought that'd be quite dicey with obviously Cloth that could swing into you, but
yeah, you just, I guess.
Did you lost
Drew a
City
bit
the
better.
bonnets, or what did you do?
Yeah, it was a mixture of, yeah. So that's just kind of limiting their damage output, right? Where possible, or even being able to take one hit KOs on my
Yeah, that's not score.
does.
Yeah.
And then just kind of leaning into Iron Leaves, leaning into
Basically everything that's
Girazinas.
not arc. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so just one quick power up, and that's one way of dealing with it. But yeah, I won the challenge. Little net
There you
gain
go.
of +5. I'll take it.
Come on.
Still pushing for an invite. I'm starting to think why at the moment.
Are you done with challenges now, or do you need another +5 or something?
It would be nice to improve 2 more of those and basically put myself within 80 points of an invite with 2 tournaments to go.
Okay.
That's the target.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and we have all of May, right? May's the last month you can do it in.
Yeah, but I like my weekends, in all honesty.
Yeah.
That's a
Is
problem.
there any midweekers you could maybe scam? Is there any ones? I think you've done a couple of midweekers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's usually ones on like a Monday. I actually went to another one and did pretty well. I think I could have finished top 4, but at that point, that doesn't give me any points, so I scooped to give someone else some points.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was playing Ancient Box that time, just to give it a go, see what it felt like, and I just played mirror matches, which was not as fun.
It does seem to have the general population wanting to at least experiment with it, right? Because it's a fun one prize deck, very easy to get the stuff for it, and I feel like the masses will definitely play that deck. Yeah. Right.
Pokemon weekend.
Lovely. So Mask of Change, we've now got the full set for it. I don't know how in detail you guys have looked at this, but if you just want to pick out 1 or 2 cards, like highlight cards, just fire away with anything that has caught your eye that you're looking forward to. So I think for Japan, their City League starts tomorrow with this set legal. So we'll start to see basically what our NAIC meta will be as of tomorrow, which will be pretty exciting. What you guys got your eye out for? Rab?
I quite like Dragapult EX. I think that's a card that's got some hype around it. 320 on a no weakness EX. That's damage output 206 spread 'em. Pretty good. Obviously people are talking about the Tatsugiri as well. The supporter / Stellar Wish evolution thing. I think that's really I think it's quite a cute little engine, but I don't know whether it'll have enough behind it to be to be an engine on its own, but it might be like a little
I think it's more likely going to be that one-off card, right?
Yeah,
it's not going to be a full engine. Like Arven decks can already play 1 emergency board plus that as like a Poffin target.
Yeah,
it's not going to be like 4 Celebrations Mew or 4 Jirachi or whatever. It's going to be that one-off guy, but he seems really good though.
Yeah, I really like it. The altar is also pretty awesome as well.
Yes, their art is just going on leaps and bounds. Honestly, it's so insane trying to keep up with all these art arts.
I think it's so good. The Waking Whistle, obviously. I'm a big fan of Control, obviously.
You have to talk about Control in every situation.
I mean, it's such a good card though. Like, it's not just like it's not like, oh, it's a cheeky one of. Like, you could potentially just the 4 of Snorlax deck, especially. Like, you could easily just slam this in and just go wild with it, and just why not?
It's such a bad card in that.
Yeah, it is.
People own the things you're trying to hit. People only play 1 of, right? So the odds of you hitting one of their boots, I can't attack with this Pokemon, is so low. But because you play 4, you just have those shots of doing it. And as soon as you do that, it can be like a win condition immediately.
Exactly.
Could you ever see it in things like an Iron Hands deck? I mean, I think we saw in Erica's.
It's terrible. That would be terrible.
I mean, I saw a list with an Energy Sticker Miraidon.
But you still got to gust it though.
Well, why not?
Fine.
No. It's strictly a control card, surely.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
Look, I'm just throwing ideas out.
I feel like a Night March back in the day would have played a card like this though, because they cycled through so many cards that you would have just slammed this as you go.
You could just play it. Right?
Yeah. Maybe there's an uptrade one prize deck that can do it, like a Pokestop, very very heavy item deck. But yeah, the fact that you still have to gust.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, but yeah, I think it's a purely control option, but who knows? And
what
then
about
the
you,
2
Alex?
A-specs.
Oh, go on.
2 ace specs.
Well,
go
hold on. Save some for the rest of us.
Yeah,
Let's
all
have
right,
one or
Alex,
two.
you take them.
Just
You
let
take
him
them
have
then.
his own
Fine.
time by himself.
Whatever.
Do you want to do a full set review
I don't
here?
care. I don't
How
care.
long have we
You
got?
go for it.
Yeah, I think there's time. Yeah, go on, Alex. Have a handful.
I know. I was going to say, just on that Dragapult, I quite like the stage 1 that goes with it as well. To give
Cloak.
Yeah.
that telling spirit ability is actually pretty cool. Just to kind of give you a bit of extra draw, I guess. Look at the top 2 cards, put 1 into your hand. It's kind of cute. I mean, I was going to talk about the ace specs just because we have to, I feel like. There's a number of them that have been announced already. A couple of them just fall foul to a few cards that we're going to see in sets as well, because Enhanced Hammer's back. So Legacy Energies kind of could fall foul to that. But that's a really cool card. That's like a life due, right? We had it as a tool card before, as an ace spec.
Yeah.
The few that are going to likely see play, we know the biggest one, I guess, Unfair Stamp. Seems
Very
massive.
broken card.
Yeah.
Actually, so Tim's just come back from Japan, and I got him to get me some Japanese cards. So I've got my Unfair Stamps ready to go in Japanese already.
To go for some tabletop gaming.
Yeah, so next week Jack's coming over to do some tabletop. So I've got some Japanese treats here ready to sleeve up, which is cool.
Is that going in every deck?
Well, most of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I got 2, so I could put them in every deck, but yeah.
I mean, what else? I mean, we saw Secret Box was the other one that got announced most recently, right?
Yeah, what are your takes on it? Because I've seen everything from like, this is the new comp search to this won't see any play. Where do you guys land on Secret Box?
I mean, what was the deck that is announced mainly for? Lugia, people keep talking about it.
Well, yeah, it's potential discard synergy for Lugia. It's potential discard synergy for an ancient box compared to like Drum. Maybe it could be good in like the new festival deck with Thwacky, where you search this card and then it searches all your other cards. Like you need the stadium anyway, so that's like a big thing you could get. I feel like it won't be good in the item tutor decks, if that makes sense, because the Arvon already does half of its job, and like the box itself gives you like a refund almost, but it's not that good. So it's going to be one of these cards where you have to see it in the first like 15 cards to feel the major impact of it. Yeah. So you need to have like ability search for it in most situations. For it to
surely
be that strong.
Surely the discard free is quite It's quite a lot more impactful than people realize.
As in difficulty. Hand, right? Yeah. As in the pain of it. Yeah.
Just like kind of being able to refresh with, you have to use Mew or whatever item card you might grab, or other supporters, for example.
Your hand size doesn't change too much. But it's it definitely is like a high impact card if you see it in that opening hand and it's like a 5th Poffin and this, that, and the other. But you're right, it has to be in a deck that wants discard synergy, I think. So I personally think it will be quite niche and narrow. I feel like it may not even be better than Master Ball, honestly, in Lugia. it may also be worse than Legacy Energy for Lugia as well, right? Because they could use a rainbow effect. So
will we see more Master Balls in Lugia than Secret Box? Let's find out later.
Yeah, I guess so. Some of the most interesting stuff, I think the Jamming Tower is probably the strongest card that we see.
Oh, really?
It's just a stadium that stops tools. Because I think in terms of impact, this card is like playing 2 vacuums in 1 card in some instances. Yeah. Where obviously you're shutting off tools which have got way out of control right now. We're seeing, for example, in Sao Paulo, the winning list was playing Heroes Cape, right? And we're seeing Capes in Guardi, Capes in Control. We're seeing Expert Belts less than, Max Belt in less things than expected, I suppose, but still enough to be relevant. And there's still like Arc decks and this, that, and the other that will be utilizing it. So I think that Jamming Tower is really, really, really strong. It's like a bit of a boring pick, but I think it's one of the best cards. And I guess, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was Ogres, because I also think there's like a big talking point archetype almost. I personally want to do, I think I might do it for a video myself tomorrow of just like, here are my starting point list for all of these things. Because I think what's really lost in the Western world is that deck building element without the what am I trying to say? The safety wheels of the Japanese meta sort of giving us the starting points over and over again. And I want to sort of test myself as a deck builder as much as possible to like have starting points for all of these things. And I think Ogerpon's one of the most interesting ones because I think it has lots of different directions you can go with those energy counts, with what ogres you want to play, how crazy with an item package you want to go, if you want to have a backup engine or not. So what do you guys think about the ogres?
Would you end up with a foundation of that deck just being, well, obviously the ogres, but then adapting to every meta? How are you then focusing on, will you have just like 4 different decks?
Yeah, I guess that's the challenge. I guess that's the challenge of like just trying to build it, because the Ogerpon with built-in acceleration and draw power is just such a fundamentally broken thing to have, especially on a basic. That you could spam so much that I think there's got to be ways for this to be good, even if it ends up just being like an E-switch package for another better attacker or other things. Or if there's going to be, this like you play 3 or 4 of the Ogerpon, try and get turn on torrential pumps and cheese people. Because if you're opting to go second with this deck, it's really hard for decks to get enough of their Pokemon down and Manaphy down. I feel like that's a real high roll if they've been able to do that, even with Poffin format, to get like 2 Charmander, Pidgey, and Manaphy down. That's like a massive high roll, right? As an example. So then you can just delete them really, really quickly and pretty consistently, I would guess. So I'm fairly hyped for Ogerpon. I think it mostly is reliant on how many other Charizard counters are in the format, I suppose. Because if there are going to be like one prize grass things, it makes Ogerpon like a lot less appealing. If one of your best matchups is getting really hated out by other things in the format already, then your selling point's kind of gone immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like its aggressiveness, and I think there's always a place for that in the format. So I'm personally still really excited about them, even though they don't feel like super overtuned. I feel like there's going to be enough speed that they're going to be really powerful.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun deck. It's just whether it's too much of a gimmick, I suppose. But
they are really squishy, and they don't, in general, say boom, which is what like Roaring Moon and basically Miraidon has had to cheat prizes as well at times, right, to be relevant, even though they're very consistent. So it is lacking that oomph right now. 210
is pretty scary to put on.
They get sneezed on and they're done, right?
Yeah. So it needs to go boom pretty quickly. The deck. So if your opening hand is looking pretty suspect.
That's the thing. I don't think you need a lot for it to go right, but I suppose you still need a couple of bits and bobs to get going. But I'm thinking it's going to be like a 40-item deck, and you're just going to zoom.
Yeah,
play like a million actions.
Yeah, agreed.
That's what I hope, anyway. I think.
And then run out of gas midway through.
Oh, certainly. I'm getting unfair stamped on turn 2, and I'm drawing 1 off of 1 grass energy and hoping for the best.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah. I'm sure that'll be enough. Not a problem.
We
good.
Are we talking about festival lead then, or are we gonna?
Oh yeah, crack on, man. God, if there's any others that we should talk,
No, I just think it's alright. I think it's okay. I think that's.
I think you've led with I think it's all right, and you wanted to talk about this card, have you?
Yeah, no, I just think it's it's a new gimmick card, right? I mean, we always talk about the gimmicks. The last one was, I'd say, like United Wings. I think this is the next one.
Yeah, I think it's better than Wings, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think
you can search for any card. It's a stage 1 prize Pidgeot, but you need to have one of these ability Pokemon in the active spot. So there's some headache there, right? Because the best attackers on a stage 1. So there are situations where your attacker get KO'd, you get hand disrupted, and you don't have a backup Diplin.
Yeah.
And you're bald as pants.
I mean, it's the classic single prize evolution. Looks really good on paper, or looks okay on paper. I mean, it's similar one we had before was like Lucario Garchomp, wasn't it? It's like, I get to.
No, this is way better than. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's like similar power levels, but it's like similar. Like, this engine is obvious. This is the new gimmick, but.
It's the out the box deck.
Yeah. It's the pre-release stuff.
But I think if Dragapult isn't as good as we expect, this deck probably will be a high tier deck. But if Dragapult's or maybe this is a reason why it is in the meta, because Dragapult's probably quite very good against this deck, and then quite reasonable against other like evolving decks, just because you're taking 1.5 prizes a turn basically, right, with your sprinkle plus swinging into the active.
Yeah.
So that's generally quite efficient for a format that we've seen, like Charizard's dominating so much because there are situations where it can hard force a one prize turn.
Yeah.
So having a deck in format that can sprinkle is actually like a game changer.
It's already got kudos just being grass as well, right? Like
I think that's the driving force.
Because...
Is there any insight, or do you guys think there could ever be a world where this is like a new Pidgeot EX control almost, where you have Goldeen emergency board, 2 Thwackies as your bench, and then you have other stuff that you just nip into turn by turn and have switch cards? Because being able to quick search twice or 3 times a turn could be insane for a control deck, right?
You could.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Next.
I think some information he's never thought about, Joe. I think.
I think if we had Birdkeeper in format, I think it could work. But the fact that you probably have to keep getting your guy back into the active, might make it not work. But I suppose if you're penny looping, if you penny every turn into a Goldeen or whatever.
Sorry, I might have to.
I mean, sometimes you've got to use some really important.
Have you been mind blown with this? It doesn't have to work with Diplin. have I done it?
He's building in his mind right now.
Triple quick search every turn.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I played Lucario with the 2 Dragonites, fast call Dragonites, and that was pretty cool. So if you could do something similar with that, that'd be right. Something similar style.
Yeah, the Lance Prism package, wasn't it? That's what it was at the time.
Yeah.
I thought you'd have more insight, Rab. I thought this wasn't going to be new information for you.
That's new to me.
This is it.
That's new to me.
Okay, cool. Well, it could be a new penny loop shenanigan deck.
I'll let you know. I'll write a report up.
See, this is the thing, right? This is why I want to be at the cusp of building now, so it's not like it was a Japan idea first kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it's how you deal with pressure, but I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be weaknesses to it compared to a Pidgeot engine, but you don't play candies, and your board is all one prize, so there's definitely
we've already
things to like there. Yeah, Pole will be a problem, but you could play Rabska, right? You could Rabska, protect yourself.
Yeah.
True. It's very true.
You never know. Yeah, okay, so those are some of the coolest cards. Thwacky's definitely like one of the coolest cards, and they're trying to give us that Diplin attacking grass deck, but an ability like that can be abused, definitely. I think if you're searching your deck 3 times a turn, it's insane. We've seen, like Magcargo Smooth Over be broken time and time again alongside Draw Engine Mons, so you have to really respect an ability like that, because you can make some silly stuff happen.
It's just
if it's just a springboard to then get stage 2s into play. You can still play Pidgeot as well.
It's the bench management, I suppose. How does your board look in that circumstance? Because you'd have like 2 Thwackies, 1 Diplin, right?
Well, you'd have one of the basics. You'd have Goldeen or Swirlix.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry, yeah.
So that if one of those gets knocked out, you can just play another basic down, I suppose that's what will always happen. What will always happen is you'll have that board state, you'll have an annoying guy in the active, like a Snorlax, for example, and they'll go, okay, cool, I'll take out the Festival Leadmon rather than the Thwackies. So you can't put a Pokemon into the active that can then use the Thwackies again. Unless you have 2 Festival Leadmons down, then they go for the Thwackies and you're losing engine pieces along the way. I'm sure you thought everything through already.
Is it better than Pidgeot?
I mean, that's the whole question.
I don't think it is.
That's what I started this with. That's
Oh my!
Oh, it's so
Pidgeot?
awesome being stupid. I don't think it's better than Pidgeot.
Oh, he said that. Clip that.
On first.
And that's final, and that's binding.
On first,
that's from the 61st best player in the UK.
61st. Look, listen, that's a strong position. 61st in Europe.
In UK. I don't think any of us are 61st in Europe. We are trash. The UK is absolutely garbage, honestly. We are toilet.
We've spoken about that before, haven't we?
We've never won a Worlds. The best player is long gone. Sammy barely plays anymore. He was our only hope.
I'm pretty sure he's gunning for an invite.
This season.
Yeah, I've seen him play a few times.
Every tournament he's been at now.
Oh, I've just checked this. This is hilarious. I haven't actually checked this before. Both me and Alex are in the top 60. Dow is joint 60th in Europe. Oh wait, hold on. What's this ranked by? Hold on. I need to see the time over time.
I think Joe's just bringing me up to just throw me down. It feels like.
Oh, you're 62nd. You hate to see it. In the modern era, you're 62nd, and I'm 47th. That is broken.
That's fine.
That's crazy.
That's fine.
I actually don't know how far this will scroll down.
No. How many limitless points have I got? Like 20 something?
Yeah.
Because me and
I think.
me and Elliot have like this healthy competition because like as the two Welsh guys.
Yeah.
Flying the flag.
What are you trying to say here, Rab? What about the rest of Wales?
Well,
you're joint 275th Rab in Europe. Not
275th.
Yeah, joint with quite a few people.
Strong.
Yeah.
There's only a few Welsh players with limitless pages, I think. I think there's only about 5.
Is Wales even... no, you're just under Great Britain, right? Yeah.
I think there's only like 5 players, I think.
From Wales?
And a couple of them only have like 1 finish.
What, who are above you?
No. I think only Elliot is above me.
Right. Yeah, he's 48th in UK.
Yeah. I think he's ahead of me by like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, he's on 28 now, so a little bit above you.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
There you go. Anyway, let's move things along to quickly touch on Sao Paulo. You know me, I love a stat. But let's move our attention to Sao Paulo. It was an over 1,000 player regional in Brazil, which is the first ever that they've hit that sort of number, which is insane. And it was won by Pedro.
Outside of an NAIC, I think.
Outside of an IC.
The IC was pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, LATAM LAIC's got there. But we have Pedro Patusi getting his 3rd regional win, which is incredible, with Charizard Pidgeot. Quite an interesting list in that he plays a lot of Mirror Tech with Double Devo and Airy, and played Hero's Cape over the classic Prime Catcher that we've seen come out of the Tord build, which most people are building off of. On first glance, I'm not a huge fan of his list because it feels quite greedy on supporters. Like it only plays 2 Iono, 3 Arven. And I feel like in general, Zard lists are getting quite greedy now. What's your general take on Zard? Do you think this is like the new way to play? Or do you think, I personally think that we're getting to like a very maximum greed era of Zard just to respect Mirror now. And I think there's going to be a turning point back to more standardized, like straightforward lists.
What's a straightforward list for you, though? I guess is the first question because.
Well, I mean, so Tord's list isn't
about Tord's list, yeah.
So it's Tord's list, but you can play less Snorlax tech, right? So you actually gain spaces back if you want to bolster counts of like nest balls and other stuff, because I feel like that's just generally like good cards. Or you could still go back to Tord's vanilla and keep his matchup spread, which was good before because it's already won a regional as well as an IC, right? So, and the Devo package isn't, I don't know how effective it is, honestly. I don't think it's that solid. Like, I don't want to downplay Pedro's amazing achievement, but he's a phenomenal player, playing Charizard at a very high standard. He's found this strategy, but we've seen so many different ways to succeed with Zard that it's not necessarily his list carrying him so much as him playing really well, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that his list is perfect.
This is definitely the Mirror list. He
didn't I don't think that's the case.
Really?
I mean, he faced Mirror. So. He beat. Was it Alex Silver he beat? No, I think he beat Ricardo in top 4.
I mean, played the Hero's Cape 2 Devolution.
Do you think that's? I don't know how good Devo is when there's double Charmeleon in so many lists now. And I think Eerie is so cheesy. There are times when it's just terrible for you.
Well, yeah.
I think you also got to think
of
using those 2 combination cards for like the Chen Pao matchups as well, right?
Yeah, it's multifaceted, but Rab saying it's the Mirror list, I don't really agree with that. I think more than one Churro, for example, is as effective in Mirror. Or like sometimes better than Devo. Especially with Devo being a known quantity now, right?
I mean, but if I was expecting Mirror, I would still play the 2 Devos and Hero's Cape over Prime Catcher.
I think Hero's Cape actively hurts your Mirror compared to Prime.
How so?
Because Prime is a much more effective card in the Mirror in terms of targeting down there to barrel all their Pidgeot when you have to.
more
or capitalizing early on a 2-prize turn if you want to go down that direction. I think Hero's Cape is for other matchups. Yeah. And I think he's counterbalanced the bad Hero's Cape for Mirror by having double Devo Airy. So he's tried to like make that balance. I think Hero's Cape doesn't help Mirror.
Right.
As much as a Prime would.
Well, we saw the Airy.
Unless he's going for a really weird. He could go for a very bizarre line, which is essentially like never take prizes in Mirror and just like cape up,
spam it,
everything.
I think that's what it would be, right? I think.
Why?
Well,
I don't know if that always works without anything like.
I don't think it
control package that we've seen in the Australian list, for example.
That's the thing. I don't know how much I like double Devo Airy when there's people playing Galecki and just recovering candy in your face, right? It doesn't feel that good. I don't know. Lists are so diverse that
it's so
that's
weird.
That's what we love in the game. This is great.
It's so weird, the Zard, like the different aspects of Zard. Like I feel like there's 3 more or less playable ace specs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can play all these different types of techs. The supporter lines are always quite weird. You can either go greedy or you can. I mean, I still think if I was playing a cup this weekend, I was going to play Zard, I'd still play Tor's list. But take out, like you said, just take out the Turo package and just put in a couple more consistency cards, or put in another Charmeleon or something like that.
I would play 2 Charmeleon for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that's the foundation that a lot of Charizard lists.
Yeah, it's normally Yell that goes. Yeah, it's either the Yell that goes or the second Churro that's like the first chop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes the Mirror so interesting now, because like, if you were going into a regional, if we were casting a regional, you wouldn't necessarily, well, you'd be more interested in the split between ace specs and the style of Charizard lists than how many there necessarily are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be this progression as we go through the format of being a step ahead of the techs, right? So Pedro wasn't only playing those aggressive techs, but he also played Mist, which can be like a preventative tech card as well, right? So you're safeguarded around Devo.
Yeah.
Also, and you're safeguarded a bit more around Tina, I suppose, but...
And Moon.
And Moon, yeah, you're right. So, but he played no Jirachi, which is weird, but yeah.
I guess my one thing I wanted to touch on next is the other finalist, because everyone think of the Lost Zone box in the meta right now, because it does well in the face of things when there's no like Iron Hands EX is running around, right? And obviously that's kind of fallen off a little bit with the Charizard.
Yeah, I mean, the deck plays Hooper EX anyway, right? It plays Hooper EX double vacuum anyway, so I don't think you were that bad into hands. I think you had to have like decent starts into them just so you could get to 7. But I think Hooper EX made that matchup relatively reasonable anyway. I think it's a similar to Tina situation where, because we're now playing this smorgasbord of attackers, you're trying to 50-50 stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good at doing that.
I think Lost Box I think it's just controversial, but I think it's high roll now. Personally.
Yeah, I fully agree that it's high roll as well, right?
Like
because it's spread itself so thin in terms of
it's not
when you're
so
going to have those
anymore.
dead, like your dead flower selectings situations, because you have so many one of attackers, very thin energy lines, and yeah, like you only play one Roxanne, one boss, so you can have so many death flower selectings or choruses that go bad. And games go long with this deck just by how it plays. So yeah. I would much rather play Lost Tina right now than Lost Box personally.
100%. It's not so simple. Like me playing Lost Box, when I played Lost Zard, like in locals and stuff, I feel like my brain was swelling playing that alone. And that was like 4 ofs, 2 ofs, and you felt like safer playing that.
It's the same Zard you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Playing that build. But now, I mean, like you said, like so many different one-off attackers, really kind of vulnerable energy counts, one-off supporters. You have to play 4
This deck feels so much worse without Raihan as well. Like, hands actually... Pulling off a hands now is like a... Like, you deserve a medal for doing it when you can actually do it. Because you have to, like, pay retreat a guy a lot of the time as well. Oh, it's so cringe. Like, you play so few switching cards. It's wild.
It's super ironic, because, like, you play the Hooper EX. If you face up against the hands that is attacking you on turn 2, if you don't get that Hooper EX fully loaded up with the response
Yeah, you're
pretty
dead.
much ASAP, you just lose, right? Like,
Yeah. You do lose. God. I don't know. Again, Nicholas is also a phenomenal player.
Oh yeah.
And Loxbox is like a fine choice. So Nicholas has got second at an IC before, top four previous regionals as well. So definitely a very strong player. Won special events in there as well. So he's been around the block for a long time. I remember seeing his name popping up years and years ago. So he's been around for ages. So playing Loxbox at a high level is going to get you far in a tournament anyway, because again, because you're dictating when you're putting these multi-prizes into play, you can at least make games go long and tactical and difficult. But I hate getting into those late game situations as Lost Box now, because I feel like the amount of decks that will just Iono spam you or throw that Roxanne in your face, and it feels like a helter-skelter to me.
Call out his second place was with, I don't know if you lost me there. I just wanted to call out his second place was with Ramble.
Yes, a very good
really
sequencing deck.
Ramble was great. Ramble was such a cool deck.
Yeah,
I never played it, but like it's one of those regret decks, you know. Like oh damn, I should have played that deck. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was a tough deck to play for sure, but people reap the rewards with it as well. I think that was the IC that Tord didn't top 8, but then got into top 8 from a DQ as well. So I think Nicholas was actually third and got bumped up to second. He didn't play the final. There was no final played for that IC.
Oh, right. Yeah. Was that the IC that Tord played Gramble as well?
He also played Gramble, bubbled, and then was it a bubble? May not have been. I might be misremembering that. But I think he was on the bubble, was Sag, and then the next day, obviously, the DQ happened.
That was the everybody was like, "Oh my god, he's not playing Zoroark. What's happened?"
Yes,
Zoroark's bad now.
I can't remember if I'm misremembering now about if it was in the finals where it was the DQ or if it was going into that top 8. I have to remember my timelines. I think I remember it being like the morning of the Sunday, me like hearing about it. And then speaking to Tord that day, like later on in the day, of him being like, "When are you flying back?" Blah 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 blah. And I've been like, "Oh, by the way, you made top 8." And he's like, "What?"
Well done on top 8, and he hits you.
Yeah, very bizarre. But yeah, outside of we're getting off the rails, but some other great performances. Alex Silver, also a very well-known player, with more Charizard. 3 of the top 4 were Charizard Pidgeot, so it's still a testament to its inherent strength, like its strategy in general. A list or no list. There was a Lost Tina, an Arc Tina, a Guardi, and a Lugia rounding things out. More of the same. Are you expecting any? Well, it doesn't feel like there's many new decks popping up. There's been some like S-Pathras in lower standings and stuff, but I feel like the cream of the crop decks are still pretty much the same that we've seen from last week, and I don't think that's going to change too much. It's just going to be more. It's going to be even more focused on Charizard, and it seems like there's not been a set like this is the response deck just yet. Does it feel like that to you guys?
I mean, there were loads of Espathra. They were like for Espathra, there were loads. There's I think 8 that made day 2
in Sao Paulo,
which is pretty high. There was some cool decks popping out as well. There was an Arceus deck that was just playing like the 4/4.
The control.
I've seen 3/3 barrel.
Yeah, so this was Marco in 11th place, I think you're talking about, or it's a 3/3 barrel, just a 4/3 Arceus, Fire Energy, and Radzard. Yeah. And it played 2 Eri, 2 Grabbers, Hero's Cape itself, Mist Energies. Yeah, definitely a cool concept. I know Azul's been playing around this on his stream a lot, just to sort of get his head around it and stuff. And I think it's definitely got some merit.
Yeah, it's got legs.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely one of those decks that I have the cards for, so it was definitely something I a little bit more detail as well. Yeah, really cool concept. I really like that.
I haven't sat down and played any of this just yet, but I like the idea. It seems pretty good. It still has the cornerstones of like, I'm an Arc deck that's judging you on turn 2, and by the way, the amount of greed I'm seeing in Zard decks, I think that's like a pretty good strategy right now. Good.
I mean, some other odd decks that popped up. Miraidon, Energy Sticker, Meowscarada.
Oh yeah.
Sandy Shocks, Raging Bolt. I think that's the first finish it's got. Oh no, I tell a lie. One in Orlando.
Yeah, top 256 in Orlando.
Yeah, Lily Morgan. But yeah, it's still good to see some variety. I think going into EUIC there were so many decks that were playable, respectively. Anyway, that there were so many decks playable. But I think slowly but surely, as we always do, we do go into a bit more of a refined meta. But it's still good to see a load of unique decks popping up in day 2.
Yeah. There's still, I'd say, easily 7 or 8 decks that you can possibly play for different reasons. One list that I'm still really waiting on, and I've been waiting to do a video for this for like all week, and it still hasn't been updated on Limitless. The Singapore Regional League, Xavier's Future Box list. I think it's the first time we've seen Future Box in top 8. Obviously, this is a 342-player tournament, much smaller, but we haven't seen, the 60 for this yet, and we don't know to what element it's like. Is it quad Iron Leaves? Is it this random toolbox of type coverages? Is it just Iron Hands that also plays Iron Leaves? We don't really know. But I think had we have seen that list, we might have seen more excitement around Future, because it feels like Iron Hands is dropping off way down because of the amount of Charizard that there is. And Lugia's like around, but it's sub 10% most of the time now. So the good matchup that people were trying to hit at EUIC, Iron Hands did a really good tournament at EUIC, right? 2 top 8 placements, but there's a lot less reason to play it when Lugia's falling off in play rates and Charizard's going up in play rates. That's the exact opposite of what you want. So if there's a different way to play Future, that would be pretty cool to see as well.
Yeah, I really like the Future Box. I mean, we saw Japanese lists before UIC, but there's been a handful of day 2 finishes in other tournaments as well, and I think there's so many different ways that you can play it. You can play the quad Iron Leaves, you can just play 2, you can play all these other ones, Iron Boulder.
And it's the same that we see at every tournament, right? You have to hit the right matchups, and you can go very, very far and very, very deep into it. So a slight tweak of your builds can really, really start to shine if you hit your matchups that you're after.
Yeah, agreed.
No doubt. Yeah, the Future, I don't know. I might be someone lying in wait to Iron Thorns, and then it becomes like a more multifaceted deck where you have aggressive lines and more defensive lines in certain matchups.
Yeah,
who knows? I feel like it's definitely gone off the boil. Things like Ancient Box stocks are like way up, and Future is like way down.
It's super time. Weird. It'll have its time.
That's how the meta changes week by week, right?
Yeah.
Apart from always knowing that you're going to face 20% of Charizards, as it currently seems. Or maybe that's the constant. I have no idea.
This definitely isn't the most overwhelming we've seen like one deck, right? I feel like there's definitely been eras where it's been more, but it's still going to be a no-brainer 20% all format, I think, right?
Yeah.
Of day 1.
I don't think it's as overwhelming as like Silver Tempest Lugia was. But
yeah, that's a modern comparison for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be as high as that, but it'll certainly be higher. It'll certainly still be high. Sorry.
What's an older era version that you were thinking of?
Well, like Guardy Glade and like Lux Chomp and even Night March, I think had percentages similar to that in certain tournaments. Looking back to ECCs and stuff.
I think Zoroark as well. Like back at Zoroark, like in Rock Golly era was pretty high. Like I know they were 2 separate decks, but like it was either you're playing one or the other in day 2. Like
Oh, it's another Zoroark. Fantastic. Nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
nothing wrong.
Good.
Nothing vicious about it.
There's nothing vicious about it, especially playing Pod. There's nothing vicious about Zoropod. Very fair deck. Right, I think we're getting fairly. We've been rambling for a while. We're fairly close to a wrap up. Yeah. Just wanted to touch on a few tournaments upcoming. I guess at the last point of business on our end. The NAIC registration. I don't know when this is actually going to go out. We may have had Wave 1 already by the time this episode comes out. But I know, Alex, you're staying up late for this one tonight. I'm going to do the same for registration for it. So, good luck us, I suppose. And even more so now because there's a new process in place. Does anyone want to just go through that?
Follow the flow chart. follow.
You love a flowchart. Come on, Ben.
I love a
work in this
flowchart,
world.
but I don't know where to start on this one. That's the problem. They've got.
I mean, definitely at a top.
There's a big.
Okay.
There's a big. Is that a start?
No, there's no start. There's not one, mate. There's not one.
It starts with a question, doesn't it? Every good story starts with a question.
Sign into the NAIC. Right, I'll do it for the viewers. Sign into the NAIC event portal to register for your specific tournament, including payment.
Yeah. So
registration complete with confirmation. No, you must successfully complete your registration on the NAIC event portal.
So essentially, that's saying that you're going to spam.
Yeah, you've got
spam click until it says you're confirmed, right?
F5. And then yes, proceed to Arcanine to register for the same tournament you registered and paid for on the NAIC event portal. What? Oh, there's a link. There's a link in that. There's a link in the post.
It's all linked.
It's all linked. It's all here.
So a couple of big differences mostly is that you won't be paying through Arcanine's portal now. It will be paid through this new site.
Right, that's the whole reason why this process is in place. Basically.
Well, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons why.
There's a whole process workflow for you to read and go through.
But we're still having to go through Arcanine because the tournament will still be run through Arcanine currently. I imagine that's why we're having to do this double
reg
thing.
Man, this
which
really
is a bit of a pain, but I imagine it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. I'm hoping.
Yes. I'm sure
there will be a handover period if things go well, or they can at least see what went wrong in this pseudo trial run, I suppose.
Well, I mean, it's really good that they're like accountable to make a process for it. So, good luck to everyone.
Yeah, tournaments are getting way bigger. Yeah. It's a harder situation, I imagine, for Arcanine to sort out themselves now. So having more things in-house may be helpful, or even if it's just under a new banner or whatever, cutting out a middleman type situation could be useful.
Yeah, agreed.
Any other thoughts on that?
No.
Just how confusing they've made it compared to how simple it actually could be.
It could have been a little bit easier, but that's fine. I think they've tried to support. I mean, it just could be communicated a little bit better, right? That's the main thing.
I feel like if we'd put all the information in on the first portal, they could then send all that information to Arcanine themselves to do it, but whatever. Rather than us doing it twice. I feel like during that first registration process, we could put in all the necessary information that is required for Arcanine.
No.
But
so I'm just looking on the website right now. So I've just logged back in, and obviously there's the countdown for the actual registration. But then the note here, it says you must log back in on Thursday, April 25th. At the right time, of course. Does that mean I have to log out, log back in? Am I just happy to stay on this page? I'm not really too sure.
This is gonna be a mess, isn't it? I'm gonna have a coffee, aren't I? Just to stay buzzed for this.
Bring me the crystal skull of. You must.
But yeah, lots to look forward to. Hopefully, be interested to see how many players actually get to register for the event after Wave 1 and then, of course, Wave 2 as well. But yeah, really exciting times.
Well, I'm expecting around, in total, maybe 3,500 plus masters, maybe?
3-5.
That would be my guess.
I'm just gonna say 3. I'm gonna say closer to 3.
Just a little 3. Yeah.
I think 3's massive. Surely.
Yes, it is.
3's
yeah.
huge.
How big was last NAIC? Hold on, let me see how.
We can't even judge it on the last NAIC anymore, right? We have to judge it on the last biggest tournament, which was EUIC. Because they have to go bigger than that. And an extra 300 seats for Masters on top of EUIC. Yeah. But knowing people still missed that EUIC, right? It feels like there's still so many people who did.
Last one in Columbus was
1897. Basically 1,900, yeah.
Yeah, double it. Come on, let's go.
Double it? No.
I think they could double it.
I think it'll be it
right now.
No, I think it'll be 3K. It'll be 3. If not,
just don't say that. You're going to cause panic with that.
Yeah, my heart is thumping.
Get your
right
tickets.
That's a struggle.
Get them while they're hot.
Give yourself an hour to get the ticket.
Respam at the 15-minute mark. Every 15 minutes. Good. Well, I think a nice positive note to end on then. Lots of hope in the call.
No,
Hope-
no,
hope-
everyone will get a ticket. Everyone will.
Everyone who needs to get a ticket.
I mean, I don't need one, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Good.
I'm doing it for a jolly, apparently. It's fun.
Right. Before we head off, any plans for the weekend or any poke related stuff going down?
I've got a cup.
Yeah.
Le Nathalie Cup.
Come on, the very best.
Big.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
Playing?
What am I playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've got sleeved up at the moment is a couple of Pokemon League headquarters
Yeah.
and a couple of flittles.
Oh yes. So you sent us earlier your Magic Madhouse.
I've ordered them today
for
before
next day delivery. So hopefully they turn up tomorrow for you.
I ordered those Espathras on next day delivery on DPD because I really wanted to play it. I really want to.
Have you
play
played any of it yet? Have you actually played the deck on live yet?
I played it once on live.
Yeah.
He's watched it in action on stream.
I did watch it on. I did watch it in.
You're right. You've had a front row seat to it losing to Charizard.
Yeah, which isn't a good sign.
No.
Oh, his prizes were terrible.
Yeah, come on. Give it a break, will you?
What's with the negativity? No, I don't know. I might play a Spathra, or I might just play Ancient Box again. Ancient Box was great. Ancient Box was
if they don't turn up. Yeah,
Vinny's list is so smooth.
Those guys, the pair of them, very impressive players, and it's just very obvious that they test a lot, and they're both at a high enough level of play that they're getting very useful testing against each other. So they come to the right conclusions. Yeah.
Hence why Ben just wants to copy their decks. Go
well,
from Ancient Box to Espathra.
There's no shame in it, mate. Oh yeah, exactly. So in Orlando, it was Espathra.
I reckon Espathra is such a good League Cup deck.
Good.
That's my
I
opinion.
don't agree, but fine.
That's my opinion. Next.
Alex,
to find those Quaquaval EXs that you were.
Oh yeah, you got to put them to use.
Oh, I could play Quacks. Actually.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Joe, make me a list.
No. I'm building new format. That's my. I think I'm gonna do a video tomorrow about
Quacks.
My entirely theory crafted, updated. More as like a deck building challenge than anything else. Which I think would be cool because I feel like that's underexplored in the modern era by just how easy information is for everyone. It's a lost art, deck building.
Yeah.
I lost it years ago.
You literally just end up where the Japanese got to with it.
What do you mean? No, so that's the thing, right? I'm trying to do it before the lists are out in Japan because their city leagues aren't till tomorrow, right? So if I jump the gun, yeah, I'm working tomorrow, so I'll have all the lists done.
I am working, so
I've got a day in the office, so sure. Cube Koga. That's one of the screens.
That brain is. It's Friday tomorrow.
I've been thinking about the lists in great detail. I've already come up with Thwacky Control, so don't you worry about it.
Oh, believe me, my brain has been working on that since this episode started.
Exactly. You'll be ready.
How does that do it again? Hang on a
minute.
minute.
How many times am I banging this drum?
So next Thursday, I'll have a League Cup champion map.
Please.
Jeez.
One of.
That'll be good. What's even the artwork at the moment? What is the map?
I don't know. I think it's Raging Bolt, isn't it? Or is that the Raging? It's Raging Bolt.
It's Bolt for the most recent ones. Yeah.
Raging Bolt.
I traded in my Garchomp and my Gyarados one. I got some sleeves from in
great.
EDC, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, some nice sleeves.
Yeah, I traded them.
Fair. Well, I'm not planning any Pokemon stuff this weekend. I'll just be watching more football, I suppose.
Trying to? Or?
At home. Trying to. Behind a pillow. Behind the sofa.
You could be watching... Hang on. I think we're playing Hearts. Yeah,
Celtic Hearts.
Celtic Hearts, 3:00.
Good.
Yeah.
Certainly good. Right. Alex, any plans? Pokemon or otherwise?
No Pokemon. This weekend is I might tend to my garden.
Oh yes.
Oh, I'm so
that is what this podcast will devolve into, by the way.
So
Garden chat
can we just
weekly
chat?
segment?
Can we just chat about that
Have a
before?
different episode on that.
Can we just chat about that before we finish?
Yeah, go on.
No.
Because you've scarified your lawn, right?
No, well, I've done it by hand.
You scarified by hand.
Is that the cliffhanger?
Yes.
Is that the cliffhanger that we saved for next week?
By rake. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm putting in work.
You scarified by rake by hand. This is in the 1800s.
What generation?
This is in the 1800s, Alex. You can get one.
You made a rice paddy in your garden.
You can get one on B&Q for like 40
just sacrifice a load of money like you are on tools and machinery. You know.
Look,
he's all the gear, no idea, man.
All I'll say is my lawn is going to be scarified this weekend, and I'm going to come into this podcast.
Are you hiring someone to do it, or have you bought a machine?
If I have to, I will.
Yeah. You want it done right.
I could hire a machine. And
don't go down. You don't want to go down this road because Harriet already has an earful of it. She's like, just let it grow.
Right. Keep it for another episode, lads.
Yeah.
I think that's the cliffhanger. How will the garden shape up? If that's not a cliffhanger, I don't know what is. That will keep them coming back.
That specifically.
That's the hook.
If
That's
nothing else, that will keep them coming back.
That's the hook.
Good. Right, I reckon we wrap it up then. So, cheers everyone for coming back. If you have come back, or if it's the first one, welcome. And come back for the next one. Let us know what you think. Leave a rating. 5 stars?
That's great. Can we get 500,000 likes on this one? That's reasonable.
And if you do, you'll get a picture of Rab's garden. So... I'm not talking outside.
My back. That is my lawn.
Yeah, that is to say.
My back lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant. All right.
We've already resorted to that. See what we've become for likes.
Ciao.